Ian, can you hear us?
Hi, James. How are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, pretty well. Thanks very much. I'll just give you a quick warning that we have our lockdown puppy just out on the other side of the door. Hopefully, we won't get interrupted.
We will deal with that if we need to. Ian, welcome. I know you're a familiar face to many of us, but again, a quick bio of your short time in the ski industry.
Yeah, well, I'll just stick to the latest stuff. I work in digital marketing in the industry with different clients, and I have done over quite a few years. And in the last 3 years, I've been presenting the ski podcast as well, which has been, this winter has been a real, I wouldn't say a lifesaver, but it's been fantastic to be able to have, like yourself, lots of conversations with people through the industry and get to see people face to face, even if it's only been through a computer. So it's been really good doing that in the absence of skiing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It really has made a difference. Um, so, I mean, same question to you. Looking forward to the kind of the post-pandemic or whatever point that is, probably not this season, maybe the season after. How do you think the industry is going to look different to how it did sort of 2019? So,
Yeah, I mean, I guess how it looks depends on who's doing the looking. Catherine referred to the type of client perhaps who doesn't go that often, and for them, they may not notice that much of a difference. But I think to those of us in the industry, it's going to be very apparent that there are fewer players in the industry from a British point of view. I mean, we've seen a whole number of chalet companies ranging in size go out of business, and some of them might be back again. But I think I wrote down a couple. We've got Ski Weekend, VIP, Ski Me, Silver Ski, Alpine Elements. I think I'm right in saying all of those, and I'm sure there are a few others as well. And in addition to that, every one of those companies that's still in business and all of the resorts have taken in significantly less money or zero revenue in the last year. And that is going to impact on things. So the industry is going to be different. But what Catherine said, I certainly agree with, that people who go out to a resort will see or will be more aware of all the activities that are out there that go beyond just skiing and snowboarding. And certainly, one of the things I've seen doing social media for different French destinations, for example, is it's been really frustrating with the kind of dream now, travel later message. But equally, we've been able to put out, hey, you know what? These are all the different things that you can do in a French ski resort right now.
yeah.
And there's been really good engagement with the British audience over those things. And a lot of things like, I don't know, snowshoeing or ski touring or even ski touring, which is probably a bit more mainstream. People might consider that they didn't consider before. And I think they'll be more available.
Yeah, interesting. And I guess the dream now, travel later, worked for a few months, but then you had to start talking about something else, right? You couldn't.
Yeah, when you share a photo of like beautiful snow, and there's been some amazing snow. We had Andy Butterworth from Kalima Travel on the podcast a while ago, and he'd just been out in waist deep snow. And then we had Chemi Alcott, who'd been out in lax. Sorry, Andy was in St Adda, out in lax in waist deep snow. And you share photos of those on social media, and you get quite a lot of the not like or love, but the crying.
Yes, exactly. Um, so from that, I'm going to say you mentioned that obviously, we're going to see a different industry in terms of the number of players maybe, and that's going to kind of shift around. What are the key opportunities that you see emerging for those companies that are, that are still with us?
Yeah, well, you referred earlier in the previous presentation to Build Back Better, which has been, a catchphrase of Joe Biden and Boris Johnson and various politicians. But the reality is that there is an opportunity to build back better there. And Catherine referred to the sustainability side of things, and I think a lot of companies have been in transition to try and promote their sustainability side of things, and I think it is very important to people, and this can be a really good piece of their structure to come back in on. I also think from a reputation point of view, there's opportunities there for the companies who are in business by definition of the fact probably that they have a very loyal clientele, but the companies who have looked after their clients and done everything they can. And I did speak to Nick from the ski a while ago, and they contacted every single one of their clients personally over the phone. They didn't stick the answer for the machine on and deflect attention. And I think that's one of the reasons they got a very high level of rebookings. And I know you talked to Joe Ponte from Hotel Plan a while ago, who said they've got a high level of rebookings. And I think there's an opportunity to use that reputation that different companies have secured, and that can work in the future as well. And from a destinational point of view, and just from the message that we're putting out there, the mountains are an amazing place to be able to achieve social distancing. There may be queues perhaps on lifts, and maybe it will be necessary to reduce the number of people going in them. But on the mountain itself, there is a lot of space. Even in February, you can find a lot of space on the mountain. And I think that type of message can really appeal to people who've been, cooped up. Yeah. We've referred to it a lot. We want to get out and we want to see big horizons. And I think there's definitely an opportunity there for us working in the mountain industry.
Yeah, I mean, there's some interesting data coming out of the US about the kind of, places like sort of Oregon and Montana, and these places were seeing a real explosion in interest. And, conversely, the New Yorks and the other cities were seeing that dip. So, I mean, that's definitely an opportunity, isn't it? Travel in the future, we should be in a good place. The mountain should be the kind of place that people want to go to. Yeah. Cities may be challenging.
Yeah, certainly last summer, that France Montaigne marketed domestically to the French market, and they were really focusing on that social distancing space kind of message. And okay, that was summer, but I think the same thing can apply to winter as well. I also think there's an opportunity to market on the bucket list angle as well. So many people, their priorities have changed. It's caused them to kind of question their lives over the last year in different ways, and think about those type of things that they had always thought, oh yeah, I'll do that at some point. And they've come higher up that ranking now. Maybe this is the time to be trying to get people to tick off those bucket list items.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the stat from this morning's presentation, but we ask skiers if their holiday had become more important or less important since the pandemic. Maybe thinking in the scheme of things, they were going, well, it's just a ski holiday. 95% said it was as important as before. 60% of those 95 said it's more important. So I mean, that absolutely seems to chime that skiers are not going, well, this isn't really important anymore. It's the opposite. They're going, really need this in my life. I need this back. So yeah, could be an opportunity. And Catherine kind of touched on this kind of range of experiences, and you did as well. How do you think will provide a better experience for skiers in sort of, say 22, 23? What will be better about the ski holiday experience?
Yeah, we'll go for 2021, 22 first.
Hopefully.
That one is going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure the experience was so bad before. People who go out on a skiing holiday normally have a really good time.
Pretty happy.
But I think possibly you see a lot of resorts bringing in, apps that have live data, for example, so you can track, where the areas are that queues are building up, for example. That could help people regardless of whether their concern is social distancing, if they just want to spend more time on the mountain. I think is it La Plan who've got that app, or maybe Les Arcs who've got that app where you can do that already. I'm sure there are other resorts as well. So that sort of thing would be useful. But I actually think the holiday experience is not too bad.
I think maybe skiers will be happy to go back to the site. And again, we talked about what might be different. I mean, is there anything that you think, typical aspects of a snow sport holiday pre-pandemic that you think won't return? We've obviously talked about après ski, but is there anything else that you think?
Yeah. Okay. Well, après, will be affected for sure, but that's a function as well of the infection rate. We don't know what the situation is going to be. We've all given up making predictions about things, but who knows? If we're in a situation come next winter and the infection rate is very low, then people are going to be less worried about going indoors, for après ski rather than everything being outdoors, on the terrace, for example. I think we're obviously going to have a smaller chalet industry in the UK than we had previously. And I suspect we might see fewer mixed chalets, mixed groups in chalets as well. You know, we know that there's a certain number of people who are going to travel regardless, whatever the situation. But we know from your surveys before that a number of people said that they will only travel when they consider it to be safe. And what that means that means different things to different people. And that might mean to different people that they're only going to go to a property if they know that it's just their household or just their group within that property, their bubble, rather than, you know, other people who they don't know. So I think that could be a factor as well. And I don't know, hot tubs have been a great seller over the last kind of, you know, 5 to 10 years. It's almost become compulsory to have a hot tub in your chalet. I never was too convinced about the hygiene aspects of sharing those myself, but they might be less popular now as well.
Absolutely, I hadn't thought of that. But I think that's a very valid point. No, I mean, you know, the chalet point is interesting, and I think not just, as you say, kind of, you know, maybe booking a room in a chalet and mixing with other people, but a lot of the comments also from our research is people just trying to get that kind of group of friends together to go on a chalet holiday. That's always been quite complex. It's just become even more complex because people have got different concerns, as you say, and, you know, different levels of vaccination, all these things. So I think people trying to kind of go, can we get a group together ready to book now? That's tough. That's going to be really tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anecdotally, I was talking to someone the other day who's looking at a holiday for New Year, and they said to me, "Oh, well, we're not booking yet because we're not sure of the situation." I was like, "Well, you know, okay, if you don't think it's going to be, you know, good by then, when do you think it's going to be good?" And also, I chipped in there that, you know, you need to get organised because actually these peak season dates are genuinely booking up. Okay. You know, flights are selling out, so I wouldn't, you know, delay too long.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We asked Kelsey this question as well, and I know you're very big into your health and fitness. Do you think there has been a wholesale change in people's kind of awareness of their own health and fitness? And is that going to continue? Is that going to impact on their behavior going forward, do you think? Or do you think this is the kind of, you know, this is the New Year resolution and actually, you know, that gym membership will remain unused or whatever it might be? How much is this going to stick, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a broader thing than just lockdown. I mean, a lot of people have, as you say, taken up Joe Wicks or yoga with Adrienne or whatever it might be. But there's the fact that there are now, I'm not going to say countless, but multiple yoga weeks in ski resorts across the winter is not just supply driving demand. It's a response to the amount of people who are interested in that wellness side of things. Okay. And, you know, I've written a blog post early this year about, I think the term is sylviotherapy, where you can go for walks in the woods and, you know, hug trees and have actually someone kind of explain to you what all these trees are and how the ecosystem works. And I think there's a demand for that. People want to feel more in contact with the world that they live in, and the mountains represent that opportunity. So I don't think that is a kind of flash in the pan. I think that is a genuine trend that's going to continue, whether you're talking about, you know, retreat side of things or the wellness side of things, and indeed, you know, catering more to vegetarians and vegans. You know, even French restaurants, you know, putting vegetarian and vegan items on their menu now, and that's a response to demand. You know, I don't think it's a fad; it's a general trend. And actually, another aspect of that is, I think, the flexibility over lift passes. Instead of having to buy, like, let's say, a 6-day lift ticket, to be able to buy a, let's take 4 in 6 days lift ticket, for example, something like that. I think Cron Montana have been offering a product like that this winter, as long as you buy your accommodation through certain properties, to have that flexibility. So, oh, you know, it's a bad weather day. Okay, well, I don't have to worry that it's costing me, you know, 80 quid or whatever the lift pass was today. I'm not going to lose that money. Instead, I can go to the wellness center, have a lovely day down there, and then I can go skiing again tomorrow when the weather's better. So I think more of those type of products to adjust as well.
Yep, that shift again to more of a mixed holiday. Great, Ian. Thank you so much. Fascinating stuff. Appreciate you joining us. And yeah, we will get you back in about 15 minutes or so.
Okay, thanks, James.
Everyone else, lovely. Thanks again. So we are now going to speak to Gordon Ritter. So Gordon, a warning that I'm coming to you, and hopefully putting your video on. Always a good sign when we've got the right name.